Hey guys, I'm Big Mike, and like always, I'd like to thank you for being here today. Today we have Raymond Day, the president and CEO of NinjaTrader, to talk about NinjaTrader 8. It's in beta form today. It's been released to some select traders, and I'm sure the public beta will be discussed by Ray during the webinar. The webinar is being recorded. You can find the recording on our YouTube channel sometime tomorrow. If you are watching it at a later date and you like it, please do us a favor and give us a thumbs up. It does help us out. For questions that you guys have today, you can type them into the questions box, and once Ray finishes his overview, we'll try to get as many questions answered as we can. All right, so with that, I'm going to turn things over to Ray right now, and he'll get us started.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. The show my screen. Give me a sec to set that up, everybody. I think it says showing screen. Am I showing my screen, everybody?
Yeah, we got it. Looks good. Thanks, Ray.
Okay, great. Thanks again. If it's okay with you, Mike, I know there's going to be a lot of questions. I'll stop it along the way and solicit questions versus just taking them all at the end. Is that going to be okay?
Yep, no problem. Just let me know when you're ready.
Perfect. And in terms of the questions, it'd be great if we can keep them at least focused on what I've already discussed, and then anything that is outside of that, we'll just kind of defer to the appropriate time or towards the end of the session. I'm here, hopefully I can get everybody's questions, but I don't know how many people are in this webinar. But if there's, I guess I can see it right there. We've got 501, which to me tells me there's going to be a lot of questions coming through. So anyways, NinjaTrader 8, as most of you know, has been released in beta to a closed number of people. It's been out now for about a week and a half. We have closed the beta to kind of power users and some partners. However, what's not closed is your ability to interact with our team. So if you want to talk to us, ask questions, you can go to the NinjaTrader support forum. There's a section, NinjaTrader 8 beta, and there's one subsection there called general discussion. So if you guys have questions that I might not be able to cover today, or just more questions on what you see today, you're more than welcome to go there and ask away. One section you will not be able to participate in is the section where beta testers are actually reporting bugs. However, you can actually look there and read and follow along if you so are inclined to do. NinjaTrader 8 itself is a rewritten application from the ground up, utilizing modern technologies. To put that in perspective, NinjaTrader 7, the product you guys are all using today, started in 2003. So we're going on 13 years of managing that code base, and we probably have at least a couple more years of shelf life left in it, and that's purely dictated by people using it versus us, meaning we're not the ones that are ultimately just going to end of life it. So it's got several more years of life in it. So the point I'm making is that it's 15, 16 years of use by the time it's all done. This code base is intended to take us for the next 10, 15 years. And that was why we decided to take a step back and kind of take what we learned and make the product better from the inside up. One of the goals of NinjaTrader 8 was to put us on a path of using modern technology versus stay with what we've been using with NinjaTrader 7. And the goal of it wasn't necessarily a revolution, more so than an iteration of innovation. So for those of you who have been using NinjaTrader, and what you're going to see here in the demonstration, it's from a usability standpoint, it's not different than NinjaTrader 7. I mean, there's definitely some enhancements here. Things look a little bit different, but the usability is more or less left intact. Of course, done on purpose. Another major design goal with NinjaTrader 8 was the expansion of what we support for the developer community. So what you can build on top of NinjaTrader. We've had so much success with NinjaTrader 7 and earlier with users, professional developers building, we just call them apps for now, add-ons, indicator strategies, and then beyond that, things that we never officially supported. There's a lot of really interesting applications that were created for NinjaTrader 7. So with NinjaTrader 8, we've significantly expanded both in breadth and depth the supported NinjaScript and what you can actually build with it, with the intention that people are going to build richer and more integrated apps, whether it's an indicator, a strategy, a Superdome column, a completely different window. So I know there's some third-party add-ons for, let's say, domes that we're creating. It'll be much easier for them to support and work with inside the NinjaTrader framework. And what we've already gotten back from the group of beta developers, and you can see the comments on our support forum, is that, just to quote a few, I'm like a kid in the candy store. NinjaTrader 8 is easier, better. I can't wait to see what things are going to be built. So from that perspective, I feel that we definitely have hit the mark, although we are still in the early stages of NinjaTrader 8, so it's still lots of work left for us to do. There's over 500 specific features and enhancements that we implemented in NinjaTrader 8, and you can actually find a partial list. I don't know if I can actually post a link here. Let me just take a look. Oh, I think I can. If I can do this really quickly, I will, but I'm going to post in a link. Oh, right there. And let's see, to all entire audience. I think that went out to everybody. If not, maybe Mike can see it and repost it, but it's a link to the list, the partial list anyways, of features and enhancements that we have published. It is available on our website. So that being said, what I'm going to do for you all today is just kind of take you through a very high-level overview of some of the changes in the core aspects of the product, take questions from the audience, and hopefully at the end of this, you guys will be more informed of what to expect coming down. Oh, I should mention, since I know there probably is a question of, what's this beta process going to look like? There is a critical section of our support forum relative to NinjaTrader 8 where we put an FAQ, and we're going to use that, or are using that, to communicate information such as the what to expect with NinjaTrader 8. So I might as well just kind of go over a few of those questions. First and foremost, there is no price upgrade for any of our users, whether it's you're using it for free or you've got a lease or a lifetime. You will get NinjaTrader 8. Okay, there's no price increase to access NinjaTrader 8. What I did say in the fact is we've never raised our prices in 7 years. And I'm not saying that we are raising our prices. All I'm saying is that it's been a long time since we've raised prices. We don't expect anytime soon to do that, although I'll never say never. But if there's any concern about pricing, the best way to defend against that is just to buy now while you know what the prices are. With respect to the beta, the reason why we do a closed beta, we've done this historically with all of our versions, is that we need to make sure that any critical issues that we can come across or are known or that we can find are dealt with before we get this out to a public beta. With NinjaTrader 8, we're even in a different spot in that we just have a lot more users than we did with NinjaTrader 7, with the last major version. My point is, it's just unmanageable for us to open the floodgates and be able to manage expectations for response times, interaction with the team, with the amount of users that we have. That's one thing. And second thing is, we would ultimately get black eyes for lack of response when our priority is to deal with the customers that are actually trading using NinjaTrader 7. That's, in terms of priority, that's where we focus before we answer questions on NinjaTrader 8. For me, the time frame of getting a general release or even a public beta release is really a function of quality. It's not a function of time, meaning that when we feel that the quality of the software is at such a point where the rate of issues has gone down drastically, the types of issues that are being reported are not, critical in nature. Once we get to a point where they become minor and less frequent, that's when we know the quality is getting to a point where it's stable. Okay. So moving on. So at a high level, what's new with NinjaTrader? First thing is some basic kind of window functionality. We added tabbed windows, and you can see, for example, here, I'll use a Dome as an example. Here's a tab. It's showing the ESO 615. What you can now do is just go something like this. If I want to add NQ 0615, I can just plus gives me a new tab. And now I have two tabs, right? NQ, ES. You can do things within the tabs, such as basic things like close, rename. But one of the important things is you can duplicate a tab. And this it basically provides you the copy functionality that we didn't have in NinjaTrader 7. So if you had spent 10 minutes building a chart, for example, all your indicators, colors, and whatever it is to make it personalized to you, you can now easily just copy that to create a new chart by simply selecting duplicate either in a new tab or in a new window. These tabs, while I feel they're of significant value, the expense of it is definitely, it takes up a little bit of screen real estate, as you can see by the amount. Maybe it's, at least on my monitor, maybe 3/4 of an inch. And for that, if you don't like the tabs, you can simply turn them off. Another thing we've done is we've taken the concept of templates and presets and propagated them throughout the application. So for example, if I go to a chart and I pop open this indicator parameters, you can see here in the bottom I've got my parameters for my simple moving average. On every dialog window you're going to see this. It says preset, and I can select save. So every time I open up that indicator, it's going to bring up the default values. Again, this goes across the application. I should add, by the time we roll out public beta, this might change, where we've been getting some good feedback where people want to see the ability to have multiple templates for an indicator. So instead of having one preset, you have as many templates as you want. So I believe we're actually going to change and add that, but the functionality will still reside right here in the lower right-hand corner of various different dialog windows. Other things from a look and feel, we do have, if I go to Tools, Options, right here you can see there's a property called Skin. I'm using this one called Slate Gray. We've got a light skin, a dark skin. We're going to have one called Slate Beige as well. So you've got some more options for how you might want the product to look and feel. And this also is it's not necessarily NinjaScript, but we do provide developers the option to build skins if they so choose. So you never know, you might get some interesting skins out there at some point in time in the future. We've added a number of new windows, one of them being this FX board, or at least our take on the display and trading of FX instruments. For those of you who are Forex traders, I guess this type of display is pretty common. Again, it's our take on it. I won't get into all the details of how this works, but you can execute ATM strategies from here. You can, let me just turn that on as well. Where is that order grid? So orders, as you place orders within the tiles, all the orders will show up here, and they also will be aggregated, meaning if you've got multiple stop and target ATM strategies protecting your position, you will see one row, for example, for all your target orders at the same price, same thing that we do in the Dome. So it makes the display and the management of orders, from at least our perspective, much more efficient. And if you want to get specific with placing orders, you can reverse the tile, and the tile's got a front side and a back side, and on the back side here you can place very specific orders, whether it's limit MIT. Actually, that's a new one. We support MIT orders in NinjaTrader 8. So that's a new window. We've got a Hotlist Analyzer, which is basically kind of like Market Analyzer, but it's fed by a market data provider like Kinetic or eSignal. Uses their hot list for those of you who are stock traders. That might be of interest to you. We added a new order ticket window. This is very basic. I doubt most of you are going to use this, and for some reason there it is. It's just a basic, you know, I guess I'm not getting any Microsoft data right now, but basically a very simple order ticket. For those of you who don't execute trades that much, might be something that might be of interest to you. And one other thing, so in NinjaTrader 7, the Control Center housed your orders, executions, positions, accounts tab. And if you wanted to see orders, you couldn't see orders and executions at the same time. You can only switch between each tab. What we've done with NinjaTrader 8 is we've broken those out so you can, for example, I'm going to duplicate this into a new window. So now I've got a executions tab, and I've got an orders tab. You can have multiple executions tabs, so you can filter them, one for instrument A, another for instrument B. So there's more flexibility in being able to use the various different tabs that historically have been singletons or single view only on the Control Center. Now what I wanted to get into, I'm going to go through the changes in the Superdome. And once I'm done with that, I'll turn the mic over to Mike and take some questions, and then we can get into charts, for example. Now the Superdome, first and foremost, has been left untouched in the sense that for those of you who could care less about any of the new features I'm going to show you, can continue to use the dome as you've always used it. Let me actually bring up a different dome here. I'm going to bring up the dynamic dome. So I'll have two. So here's the dynamic dome, and as you can see here, it looks pretty much just like the NinjaTrader 7 dome in terms of its layout. A few differences with NinjaTrader 7 in the dynamic dome. To freeze the dome, you had to press the space bar. We've removed that. I'm hoping that people will think that this change is better. If they don't, we can always put it back in. But to freeze the dome, you just move your mouse into the price ladder area, and you can see now that there's a blue highlight around the price ladder. That means it's frozen. So you don't have to press the keyboard anymore. The value of that is it's more efficient to use. And again, I hope people like this change. We kind of took, I don't want to say a gamble, but we did not purposely put in the press the space bar to freeze it because we figured people probably would like that. But if we are wrong, we already have it on our list to put it back if people complain. But that's one major change, not major in functionality, but major in terms of improvement of the dynamic dome. In terms of manipulating the dome, it's the same. You know, left click for limit orders. I think we did make some more flexibility changes in terms of using the middle mouse button for stop orders. But if you want to, you know, make the dome smaller or bigger, you know, just some usability changes. You don't have to set the number of rows; it'll automatically resize for you. You know, placing orders. The visuals, from my perspective, look better. They're cleaner, more modern, but they do the same thing, you know, in terms of what you're used to. So I'm just going to close this one. And so the dome that we're looking at now is a dome with some additional features that we've included with NinjaTrader 8. First thing that we've done is we've added columns. That's the P&L, the volume. We have an APQ, which stands for approximate position in Q column. And we also have a notes column, which I didn't add here, but a notes column where you can actually just type some stuff in that you might want relative to a specific price. These columns, you can manipulate them. You can, you know, change the order of them, change the size of them. And for you developers out there, they're actually programmable NinjaScript objects. And you can see the code that we have for these columns, and you can now go build your own columns if you so choose. I'm going to just show something really quick here. I'm going to select ATM, an ATM template, and I'm going to get into the market here. And so I just wanted to show you what the view would be looking like with stops and targets in place. You can see that P&L now lights up. It says here I'm 122nd place in the queue. And for those of you who don't know what that means, APQ, basically when you place a limit order, you're at the exchange, there's a certain number of orders in front of you. What this APQ column does is approximates where you are in that queue, and as trades go off at that price, it starts counting down. So you can see yourself basically moving up in line. Again, it's not an exact science, but it is an approximate. That's why we call it approximate place in the queue. A couple of things that we've done on the Dome, or not on the Dome, but with order entry in general. If you middle click within the quantity column, you're going to get this, call it a quantity pad. You can immediately change the number of contracts that you want represented in your quantity, or you can add to it with these +2, +1, +2 buttons. So the left side just selects it, the right side adds to it. And this is all completely configurable. So you can put whatever values you want and set that up to your liking. Another thing we've done is the instrument selector is unified across the product. So I'm going to just click on this. So first of all, it's going to list the most recent instruments used. It's also going to show you all of your instrument lists. And it gives you the ability to pin more commonly used instruments. So you can see here I've got 2 instruments pinned here, and which just simply means they stay in place. And if I know I always want ES on the top, I'll just pin it there, and it's always going to be there. And so this instrument selector you'll see here is also, for example, exactly the same thing used within the chart. The ATM strategies, I'll just show you that as well. More or less is the same in behavior. I shouldn't say more, exactly the same in behavior. The only difference here is we've added the ability to add an unlimited number of stop and target brackets. So with NinjaTrader 7, the limit was 3. We have had requests over the years for more than that, and so now with NinjaTrader 8, we give you more than that. There is no limit, although I think there's probably a practical limit. My personal belief was 3 was, for me, was a, I never needed more than that, which is why there was set up with 3. But again, I'm not everybody, and so now you can have 4 if you want. Other than that, oh yeah, right. There's one other thing I wanted to show that was kind of significant. And let me do that. So let me close this. And we need to wait. The reason why it didn't close yet, there we go, is because the market's, I'm on the simulator, and the simulator won't trigger until there was a trade. So I needed to wait a second there during the slow market times here for a trade to come through to simulate that market order. So in the Dome, we have added the ability to plot indicators on the price ladder. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a simple moving average here, and I'm going to do I don't know, let's do a 50 period moving average, and that's on 1 minute chart. You can see that here, based off of last price, minute chart, 1 minute value. Hit OK. Oh, pardon me. Let me just show you. It's going to plot this color plot line on the price ladder. So there we go. You can see the SMAs plotted at this price. So again, I can put as many indicators as I want. But here's kind of a cool new feature. I'm going to place a limit order, and I can now attach that order to this indicator, meaning when the value of this indicator changes, the price of my order will automatically be modified to that. You can do that for any order on the Dome, whether it's a limit entry order or, for example, stop order. So you could have, for example, some interesting stop indicator that you've created, or you could use like a parabolic star indicator as an example that you want to use as your stop. And you can then attach your indicator to that, you can attach your stop order to that indicator, and it now will basically be an indicator-driven automatic trailing stop. And the way you would do that is really simple. You just right-click on the order, and it shows you the order there. And you can see attached to indicator, and I just select properties. It will show all available indicators that you've got on the dome, any offset you want. So if you really want the order to be at the value of the indicator or less, 2 ticks, you can do that. And you can also ensure that the stop or the order price is only modified as it moves towards the last price, meaning if the indicator goes up and down, you don't want it to go down, you only want to go up. If it's below the market, you would select that. And you just hit OK, and you just saw that that indicator moved up and was automatically modified to the price, or pardon me, I'm sorry, the order was automatically modified to the price. And I'll stop there, Mike, and if you want, let's take some questions if there are some.
Okay, very good. All right, guys, so let's see what questions you have. Try to keep it on topic to what Ray's talked about so far. One question was, can I have 10 levels of depth on the dome?
Simple answer is yes, and we do have it hard-coded, not hard-coded, pardon me, defaulted to 5, but you can see here if I just poke in 10, as soon as the 10 come in, I get 10. So, it comes from my personal preference. I don't see the value in having a lot of levels there. So if you do, have at it.
Okay. Alexi is asking, will the new property grid support expandable nested properties like WinForm's property grid does?
If we're talking about the Superdome properties, I guess I'm not sure exactly what you mean by the question. I mean, there's nothing a user can do to change how we've laid out these properties. So I guess I'm not fully sure what that question means, although just by display on your screen, this is how it's set up. So, we've got these big expanders here. So if you collapse everything, that's what it looks like. And if I want to open up the colors, for example, there's colors under general. If you want to expand font, for example. So I'm not sure if that answers the question, Mike, but hopefully I did.
Okay, John wants to know, and I realize you haven't quite covered it, but since you have volume profile on the screen, he wants to know, can you do market profile by volume? That's
market profile. I guess we don't have any market profile tools in NinjaTrader 8. What you can do with this volume column, and what I am showing, and I guess I can show that real quickly, is there's a columns property dialog, and here you can see the properties for that volume column. Right now I have it set to buy sell, and we have 2 options, buy sell and standard. Buy sell, basically what it's doing is it's just checking where that trade went off. Was it at the bid or below, or at the ask or above, and depending on which one of the 2, it either colors it green or red. And if I turn that off, then it just goes to, it doesn't care. It just says, here's all the volume at that price. So I'm not sure if that exactly is the answer, but that's what
I think he's looking for a TPO chart. It's more of an indicator question, but I'm sure that there's going to be, there already are third-party apps for NT7, so I'm sure they'll exist for NT8. Okay, Option Trader asks the question, does the dome automatically know if you're putting in a stop order or a limit order based on where you click on the ladder? For example, if you're above the current price and submit a buy order, then it would be considered a buy stop.
Yeah, good question. NinjaTrader 7 never operated that way, and off the top of my head, let me just take a look to see if I can find quickly. Middle mouse button is stop market, left mouse last trade. I don't recall, and I can't see it quick enough here. So the short answer is I don't recall that. There's so many, like I said, there's 500 plus. So I don't know if we change the behavior by where just a left click above the market would submit a stop order, which is what I think the question is exactly.
Right. Timothy's asking if you can have multiple domes at the same time of the same symbol and submit orders on each dome. I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess that would be useful, for example, if you have a different ATM strategy.
Yeah, we do that with NinjaTrader 7 as well. So I guess the answer is Yes, but that's not a new feature. That's been
Right.
a feature of NinjaTrader since 2003
Right. Let me
or
try to
four.
understand this next question. Okay, Rajiv is asking, in the Superdome, can he rearrange the dome so that I think he's asking so that the ladder is on the right side, the price ladder is on the right side.
Yeah, good question. No, you can't move the price ladder to the right of the columns. The columns always have to be on the right side, but you can, you know, change the proportions of the various cells, but not the order of the ladder versus the additional columns.
Okay.
You can, though, do this. You can see the trade, we call it trade control here. I've got it on the left side, just so that when you have a number of custom columns, it makes the display look better. Otherwise, you get this, where that trade control is all the way stretched across the bottom.
Okay. Joe asks, is it possible to tie an order to, I think he's asking if you can tie it to a bar. So you've demonstrated that you can tie orders to indicators, but he wants to know if it can be tied to an underlying bar type. His example is to let an order work until the first reversal bar is plotted or created.
I guess the answer is you cannot associate an order to a bar, but you can definitely indicators can be created
Right.
to get what you want and then attach the order to an indicator.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Thomas is asking, can the Superdome? Okay, Thomas, I'm sorry, I don't understand. You have to ask your question again. Bo wants to know if you can share any details on how the approximate position in Q is calculated.
I don't know because I didn't code it, but something probably pretty simple, such as when the order is placed, we grab whatever the market depth value is at that time the order is placed, and then start dropping trades off or counting down from that once trades go off at that price, something to that effect.
Okay.
But I will say, again, this is code for all to see. So, you know, once you have your hands on it, whether you're a programmer or not, I guess you've got to be a programmer to understand it. But if people don't like our algorithm, you know, I'm sure people will write new ones.
Right. Okay, I see a lot of duplicate questions. I'm skimming for any questions that are related to what you've covered. There's a lot of questions that are not related. So I think maybe this is a good point for you to keep going, unless you want to open it up to just general questions.
No, let's keep going. Let's talk charts.
Okay.
So I guess a few things on charts. First and foremost, the look and feel is more or less preserved, as you can see. I mean, you know, charts are charts, bars are bars. They don't look much different. A couple of things that we have done, you know, the toolbar has been moved into the caption bar area, as you can see here. That was done just to preserve screen real estate or to provide more screen real estate. Right now, if you elect to have the tabs on, the screen real estate for the canvas area is identical to NinjaTrader 7. If you elect to have the tabs off, you actually get more chart canvas area than you would in NinjaTrader 7, thus being able to put more stuff on your monitor. We added a interval link. So for those of you familiar, we have an instrument link with NinjaTrader 7, meaning that any window that is linked with the same color will change instruments. If you change instrument on one, it will change instruments on the other. With the charts, we've added the interval link, which simply will change the interval on one for all others that are linked together. I already talked about the instrument selector, but we also have made changes to the, I guess you would call it the chart style or chart interval selector. So if I click on this, you can see here there's a number of numbers, you know, a minute, I've got 1, 5, 15, 30, 60, tick, day, week. All of this is configurable. So I just click on configure, and you can see here what I've configured, but you can click add, and you know, you can add whatever you want, whatever values you want. So you can customize it to what you generally use. Again, more about personalization than anything. Kind of from an underlying data perspective, a couple of things. With NinjaTrader 8, we now support in the database the storage of sub-second time properties on a tick. For those of you programmers, we support timestamp down to the tick. It's not tick as in tick trade, but tick as in the time unit expressed in the .NET framework. It's as low as you can go, I guess is probably the better way to say it. So that's a change. We have added, and I'll show you guys this as well, we've renamed session templates to trading hours. And this is where you create your templates. And let me just pick one, for example, the CME US Index Futures ETH. We have added holiday handling here. What this does, and some of you may recall with NinjaTrader 7, if the holiday comes, you'll have kind of a space on your chart or a gap on your chart. This will basically exclude the gap, so it's kind of like an exclusion. If there's a half day, you can see here some are full days, early close, things like that. You can then define this if you want. For the bulk of all of the stuff we support, we will be handling the holiday lists for you and updating them through our server. So for the most part, you really don't have to do anything. It's just for any of you who've got some custom stuff you're doing, or if there's markets that we're not, let's say, really managing on our end, that you need to then put in custom handling for holidays, you can do that. That's on the chart. So drawing tools. Let me just pick. I'll just pop up. What was I looking for? Fibonacci. So in the drawing tools, a couple of things we've normalized throughout the product how objects and properties, and I say to objects, just things within the product, are displayed and managed. So here you can see drawing objects look like the same dialog that we use for indicators and for strategies, where you have a list of objects on the left and then the selected objects properties on the right. So all of your drawing objects now are going to actually be shown in a dialog window. We didn't have that in NinjaTrader 7, but where I wanted to get to was we have templates. So you parameterize all drawing tools, and you can save them as templates. And this goes to the, if you guys recall, I was talking about indicators before as well. It's kind of the approach we're taking. So now, and you couldn't do this with NinjaTrader 7, by the way. So now you can have 5 different Fibonacci tool templates or drawing tool templates, and you can save them and load them at your leisure. Excuse me. There was one thing, give me a sec, that I had, and I'm just searching my brain because I forget what it was. Oh yeah, right. The other thing, for those of you who are developers, we have exposed drawing tools as NinjaScript objects, meaning you can see the code for all of the drawing objects that we provide out of the box, and more importantly, you can develop your own. So if anybody is like a GAN guy or Elliott Wave, you know, we don't provide any Elliott Wave or GAN tools within NinjaTrader out of the box. That might be an area that I would expect some developers to start building tools to address that kind of niche market. So simply put, again, drawing tools are all fully custom in terms of being able to build things. One thing we got a lot of requests for is we have scrolling of the chart up and down like I'm doing right now, and let me see, or left and right. We now support free scrolling as well. You hold the control key down and move your mouse around, and you can get full free scrolling. That was a minor in terms of it's not like a major feature, but one that we got a lot of requests of. alert. And by default, it's going to come up, and it's selected my data series. And it says here, cross inside, or I can go cross outside into that rectangle, meaning if the price of the current bar crosses inside the rectangle, and there's some other parameters here, I won't get into the details, I'll hit OK. And I can add as many conditions as I want in this window here, and this is the one I just created. And you can say if all of these conditions are met, or if any of these conditions are met, I want to, and here's where you would parameterize the message that shows up in the alerts window. We had an alerts window in NinjaTrader 7 as well. And then you can say, I also, in addition to this message, I also want to take action. And those actions can be, I could play a sound, I could share a message, and I'll talk about share in a second, show a pop-up dialog, or even submit an order. And so what this allows you to do is kind of even semi-automate. I don't know if I call it a strategy, but you can, in essence, say if the moving average crosses over this, the price is above that, you know, goes into this or crosses this trend line or breaks this trend line, place a market order for one contract to go long. You know, so it can be used in a kind of semi-automated manner to help you know, just make your trading more efficient. If you already know, you know, kind of what your setup parameters are, or what your exit parameters might be. You can then have various different what we call rearm types, meaning once this is triggered, never trigger it again. Or once it's triggered, reset the alarm, meaning reset it so it's waiting for the conditions to trigger again after the bar closes, or if the condition is reverse, or on connect, or even, hey, I only want this thing to ever trigger once, so kill it, remove it once it's triggered. So this conditions and alerts is applicable in the chart, for example, in the market analyzer. So it's not just a chart feature, although I'm showing you this as an entry point from the charts. Now, I mentioned sharing, and I might as well just highlight that. With NinjaTrader 8, we have the concept of sharing data, much like you would see in social media. And what we have out of the box is the ability to set up what we call sharing services. And those are set up under Tools Options. And you can see here it says Share Services. I have none set up right now, but if I click on that, we provide Facebook, email, StockTwits, and Twitter. And these are also NinjaScript objects. Again, for the developers out there, you can see this code, and if you want to create your own custom share services, you can. So, Mike, I'm not sure what the status of the charting API you had, but you know, this would be a good example where there could be a Big Mike API that somebody then could just, you know, send a chart from inside NinjaTrader to your chart.
Yeah, that API exists right now, and it's not quite as simple as what you've just shown for NT7 at least. So I'm looking forward to NT8.
Cool. And so anyway, so what you can share then, so from the chart, right-click, you see Share, and you can share a number of things. You can see tab contents and window. Window meaning it will basically take a screenshot and share the whole window. Tab contents means it will just take a screenshot of the contents of the tab. You can also share a position you're in, share the current price of the market. So, and this share service is available in different manners from different windows. So if I go to the Dome, for example, and click Share, it'll also share all four things. And so you'll find this throughout the product to make it easier to get information from your desktop out through various different services, whether that just be an email, again, to Big Mike's forum, to your Twitter account, or what have you. We have enhanced the ability for people to work with multiple bars. For those of you who do work with multiple bars on your chart or multiple data series on your chart, with NinjaTrader 7, we had this concept, which we still have in NinjaTrader 8, where the x-axis is equidistantly spaced. With NinjaTrader 8, we still have that as an option, but by default, let me just delete a few things just to try to make the illustration better. Right now, I have a 1-minute chart. If I add a 500 tick series to this chart, let me zoom in here, and now here's probably better. The bars are, instead of the x-axis being equidistant, the bars are equidistant, meaning that you have a 1-minute bar, and then the next bar that closes here is a tick bar. Then you have a bunch of 1-minute bars until the next tick bar is closed. So you see that they're interlaced. You can see that if I just drag and drop the series onto each other, you can see here that they're all interlaced, evenly spaced per bar. And there's a number of other options that we've provided there, but I know somebody had asked on the forum to show that, so I figured I'd quickly show that. There are a couple of more new drawing tools we added, a region highlight, which just is something that looks kind of like this. We changed the crosshair a bit. So now we have the ability, for you guys to customize the look of the crosshair, which we didn't have in NT7. And we also added a feature. We have the concept in NT7 of a global crosshair, which means that if you have global crosshair turned on multiple charts, as you scroll or as you move the crosshair in one chart, it moves on the other one, and it will also scroll the chart of the other one so that you still see the it stays in sync on time. We definitely had a lot of enhancement requests where people wanted to not have other charts time scroll, so we have a global no time scroll option, and we also have a feature where you can lock the crosshair. So wherever you want to have it, you can set out the lock and then leave it there. So you might do that where if you're working with charts and you want to, let's say, lock down on a specific reference point. A few other things I can think of, the mini data box is a bit opaque. You can see here that you can still see bars behind it. And the main data box, what I wanted to show here is you can see here we've added 2 new properties, bars ago. This is primarily for developers, and bar index. These are, let's say, indexes that you reference in NinjaScript. So the point of this now is if you're debugging your code, you can move your mouse and see what the bars ago would be and cross-reference that to the code, and just it makes it for a much more, I don't want to say easier, it's just an enhancement to it for developers to debug scripts. And I think, like I said, there's a lot of other little chart enhancements here or there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of them all, but let me just take a look at my notes to see if there's anything else here that I might want to cover. Yeah, why don't we stop there, Mike, and I'll take some questions on the charts.
Okay, very good. So first, let me just say, guys, anything that's not related to charts is going to be held until the end, and it would make it a little bit easier if you didn't ask the same question 3 or 4 times. I have to sift through here, Ray. Give me 1 second. There's a lot of questions that are not related to charts. So, okay, this one we'll cheat just a little bit. Neil wants to know about bid-ask data. So that's kind of chart related. So cover again. I mean, you've covered it many, many times, but just tell everybody again what is being stored by NinjaTrader. Like, for example, you don't need the GOM recorder anymore.
Correct. Okay, good question. Thanks for bringing that up. So with NinjaTrader 8, we store the bid and ask price at the time of a trade, meaning in your database we have minute bars, we have daily bars, and we have tick data. The tick data in NinjaTrader 8 now stores the bid and ask price. The value of that is that people then can do comparison type analysis where, kind of like that the DOME volume column I showed you guys where we had the trades colored, whether they went off at the bid or ask. So you can do that type of stuff. And the way that it's done, first of all, it's all recorded behind the scenes. You don't even know that's happening. Most people don't use this stuff, but if you do, what we've done, we call it tick replay. And you do have to turn it on. It's not that you're turning it on to be able to record that type of data. You're turning it on so that it's visible in the areas that you can use it. And the reason we turn that off by default, the reason we do this is this tick replay stuff, processing indicators and bars tick by tick is performance intensive. Okay, and if somebody who doesn't know what they're doing turns this thing on all over the place, they just see it and go, oh, I'm going to check this on, they're going to have a really bad experience because they're going to be like, why is this taking so long to load up a chart? And so we purposely put that under, I think it's under market data. And let me look for it here. Here it says show tick replay. So I'll check that. I hit OK. And what now happens is, let me get rid of this 500 tick for a sec. Is now what you'll see is wherever you're working with data series, you're going to see this option now, tick replay. When you select that on, okay, what now happens is anytime you, let's say, apply an indicator, it's going to process that indicator tick by tick. So if you've got 15 days of minute bar loaded, it now has to go grab 15 days of tick data and has to calculate what we call on-bar update, or calculate, if let's say 1 minute bar there was, I'm just picking a number, 1,000 ticks, it's going to calculate that indicator 1,000 times for that bar. And it's going to go through from the furthest point back of your chart all the way forward. For indicators like moving averages, it's not needed. The calculations interbar are not needed. But for an indicator, let me just do this. Give me a second. I'm going to lower the number of days of my chart so that we're not sitting here too long. And let's see, I wonder why I got a long bar like that. So give me a sec, guys. I think I just found a bug. And I'm just taking a screenshot for myself here. That's beta software. So if I add an indicator, let's say we have a buy-sell volume indicator. Now this comes with NinjaTrader 7, and what this attempts to do is just basically show volume split between what we call buy trade or a sell trade, which is a trade that goes off either at the ask or above or at the bid or below. And with NinjaTrader 7, if you applied this indicator, it would only process on data real-time forward. It wouldn't go backwards because it didn't have this historical bid-ask data. And so if I add that indicator now, it should be going back and calculating. Let me make sure I did that correctly. Oh, I didn't do that correctly. That's what I thought. Buy sell volume, I add that, hit OK. And now it's just going back and I believe it should be loading some data. And like I said, it takes a little bit to grab all that data and process it. And this is assuming that we actually modified this indicator to do that. Maybe we didn't. Let me pop up a different indicator. Volume profile should do the same thing.
It's beta.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Yeah, it worked before. So I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, or either way, it might be a bug that I need to report. But anyways,
No
the point I'm making is it will back calculate against all the historical tick data.
Right.
And that's new for NinjaTrader 8.
Yeah, that's great, because the installing GOM recorder on Ninja 7 is not something that most people are capable of doing, and I'm sure it's a welcome relief to have it all built in. Ramon is asking, is it possible to create spread charts, for example, spread Brent crude versus West Texas crude, or maybe some front months calendar spreads, that kind of stuff?
The only, I guess the simple answer is, the only thing we can do with NinjaTrader 8, as we could do with NinjaTrader 7, is for somebody to create a custom indicator that shows the spread. We can't do any type of summation or any type of math using two data series to generate or derive a new data series that would plot like a chart style plot.
Okay. It's interesting. At the exact same time as another person has a similar question, and I won't attempt to pronounce the name, I'm sorry. can he use an ATM strategy to simultaneously trade multiple markets from one order? For example, buy bonds, sell equities with one order.
No, there's nothing out of the box that supports that.
Okay. Bob is asking about cumulative delta. So you've basically covered that the data is built in, but I think he's asking, is there an equivalent indicator built in to what Gomi calls the GOM CD, a cumulative delta? Is it built in or not?
No, there is not. Well, pardon me, let me restate that. I don't know for sure what that indicator does or doesn't do, so I guess I can't say no, there's not. I know we didn't add any new indicators in NT8,
okay,
which is why I came quickly to say no, but I just wanted to point out, I know what happened before. I needed to reload the chart. When I turned on that tick replay option, I didn't reload the data series, so I just recreated that and added this buy-sell volume. And now you can see, historically, you can see all the red and green bars. And if I did this in NinjaTrader 7, you wouldn't see any of this data being calculated historically.
Right. Vladimir wants to know if he can add drawing tools to the DOME, much like you can with indicators. So I guess maybe, for example, Fibonacci.
Oh, that's a good question. The answer is no. We didn't build any drawing tools, although it's an interesting idea. Never thought about that. Interesting idea.
Okay, so guys, just to let everyone know where we stand, I'm currently reading questions from 29 minutes ago, so it would be helpful if you didn't repeat the same question multiple times. Okay, D wants to know, can he turn off the approximate position queue on the DOME?
Yeah, it's a customizable column, so simply put, it's no different than indicators.
Okay.
You just right-click and, I don't want this column, I don't want the P&L column, so now all I've got is a volume column, see?
Okay. I'm going to let David cheat just a little bit. He's asking about charts that contain multiple workspaces, or maybe I should rephrase multiple. Yeah. And he wants to know about any performance issues. I know you want to save maybe performance to later in the webinar, but can you have multiple workspaces open at the same time? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess there's a couple of things, and one thing I didn't talk about at the beginning. So give me probably a couple of minutes to weave through this kind of all-related answer. First and foremost, one of the architectural changes we've made with NinjaTrader 8 is that NinjaTrader 8 uses all of your cores available on your PC, so as well as memory. So if I show you guys, for example, I've got 8 cores on my laptop here. And NinjaTrader will then recognize that there's 8 cores, and it will create a pool of threads that the UIs will run on. In other words, there's going to be 8 UI threads, and as you spawn windows, they'll be, for lack of a better explanation, kind of distributed among the cores. And so from that perspective, we already have, from a performance perspective, the load is just distributed across, unlike NinjaTrader 7, where we have one single UI thread. Although NinjaTrader 7 still is multi-threaded, it just uses a single core. So we get the load balance, let's just say the performance across as many cores as you have. That's the first thing.
Okay.
So related to the workspaces questions, it's already, not just because it's a workspace thing, but it's already optimized for better performance, to take advantage of the full resources of the PC. The second thing, and this is kind of more behind the scenes, when indicators, for example, pardon me, let me take a step back. Anything that's on a workspace and behind, all the UI stuff anyways is suspended. We're not doing any UI work. It knows that, this window is not visible, so don't do any type of rendering work. That was more or less the same for NinjaTrader 7 as well. What we've also done is we've added this feature, and it says toggleable from a programming standpoint, where indicators are suspended when not visible. So if they're on another tab not shown or minimized, it's not going to run on bar update. This is more of a programming thing. And so programmers will become aware of this really quickly, because if they have indicators that need actual continuous calculations, then they're going to want to turn that feature off, which they can do programmatically. And the last thing I want to just point out is that from a performance standpoint, NinjaTrader 8 will use more memory than NinjaTrader 7. And NinjaTrader 8 is also going to, I guess you could say, immaterially use more CPU cycles than NinjaTrader 7. But, you know, if I'm completely picking numbers out of thin air, if I'm using 10% with NinjaTrader 7 on one core, and I'm using 20% across 8 cores, it's basically, you know, 20 divided by 8 is kind of the load on a single core. So that's what I was saying. The load is distributed more. Memory-wise, you know, computers these days have lots of memory. I don't know what you guys are seeing, but we don't, here at our company, we don't buy a computer with less than 8 gigabytes of RAM. And anyways, I guess my point in that is programs these days, you know, they use memory if they can get it. We're doing a lot more things. WPF, actually, that's probably a good point as well. And this is a little technical, but at a high level, NinjaTrader uses a new technology. It's not necessarily new, but a different technology for its, let's say, window management and rendering, and it's called WPF. It's from Microsoft. NinjaTrader 7 uses WinForms. WPF is the direction of new desktop development, and that's what we use. WPF by itself, outside of NinjaTrader, uses more memory. There's a lot of interesting things built into it, which makes it really nice for developers going forward, but it uses more resources, and it is just the way it is. So I did just want to comment on that question triggered by the workspace question, Mike.
Okay. Follow up on workspaces. Ed is asking about the layout of charts. Do you have a way of locking it to a grid and then saving that layout?
I can say that you can move your windows around and save the workspace, which is no different than NinjaTrader 7, which is why I'm a little suspicious I may not be on the mark with the question. But you can always save your workspaces and then reload it, and it's, you know, as the way it was. If you're referring to some automated way of distributing charts, you know, if you've got a bunch of charts just kind of on top of each other, and you say distribute my windows evenly, spaced and sized on a monitor, we don't have any, let's say, automation like that. And I want to say that there are third-party products that deal with that. I know that that's been on our list, and I can't give you any indication whether or not that's something that we're seriously considering or not. But I know it's on our list, so I'm not sure if that was what you're asking. Hopefully I answered the question.
Going back to the dome for just a minute. The question is, how do you deal with different time frames on the dome? If you want to overlay an indicator on the dome, how do you control the time frame?
Yeah, just through the trading hours template and just properties, and maybe let me think.
I think he's saying, like, you throw an SMA on the indicator on the dome, and okay. I think I see it right there, and he wants it to be a 5-minute SMA or a 1-hour SMA or etc. Okay, I see.
Right here. So when I add the indicator, I've got the we call it data series. So right here, minute. You know, if I want to have a tick chart or whatever, this is where you define that. And trading hours, you know, whether you use the default instrument or something else. So hopefully that's
okay.
The right answer.
Okay, just let everybody know I'm currently reading questions from 36 minutes ago, and there's about 82 questions more. Ray, that's also to let you know where we stand. David's question is about NinjaTrader. Do you want to talk about that, Ray, or no?
Sure.
His question is, can the additional features on the dome, do they transfer over to the NinjaTrader?
Do the additional features on the dome transfer over on the NinjaTrader? I'm not sure exactly what the, okay. In terms of attaching indicators to charts, I actually don't recall. Good question. Let me see. I guess yes. It would make sense. So I was a little bit scared to see if my product management team completely put that over, but yeah, it would make sense to me. So there you go. Yes, that feature ports over. In addition, we have made the chart trader a little more flexible. So with NinjaTrader 8, if you have multiple instruments on your chart, on a single chart, you can toggle which instrument you're using chart trader with. You couldn't do that with NinjaTrader 7, for example.
Okay. Guys, all the questions that refer to things that Ray's not covered yet should be held until the end, please. Okay.
You want to just, I can cover 2 more topics and then just dive into the questions, Mike?
Okay, yeah, I'll stop right here, and then that way we can open it up to all the questions.
Got it. Okay. Just wanted to comment quickly on NinjaScript. I know, I'm not sure how big the developer audience is today, but as I mentioned before, NinjaScript has been significantly enhanced to allow developers to build a lot, bigger, better, richer things, to the point where we have a new type of class called an add-on, which allows you to build whatever you want. You want to build your own dome, you can. You want to build your own chart, you can. You want to build something completely off the wall or just something really innovative, you can. And you can hook into all the menus, you can hook in and use all of the controls. So, the account selector, the quantity selector, instrument selector, those are all controls you have at your disposal to use to build your own type of integrated windows within NinjaTrader. On top of that, you can as well, and I'll show you this. Give me a sec to bring up the NinjaScript editor. So this is a new NinjaScript editor. We've got the Explorer on the right, which allows you to better organize your scripts. You can do things like, if you want to, let's say you've got a problem compiling, you can just say, okay, instead of trying to figure out what problem I got, you can right-click and exclude from compilation. So there's a lot more flexibility in terms of working with scripts. We've got Visual Studio integration. That's that little icon there. And you can now click plus, and here are the different types of out-of-the-box objects, whether it's an add-on, a bars, chart style, drawing tools, indicators, market analyzer columns, and a number of different things here, Superdome column. So there's a lot more things, again, that you can build. Now, for you non-developers, what does this mean for you? Really simply, in the next few years, I say years because it takes time for developers to truly understand what they can build. They start building some things, they learn, they evolve, and I would think within a year or two, you're going to see some pretty interesting utilities that have been built both by just the user community and the professional developer community. And so back to what it means for non-developers, I just think that whatever investment you make in time and money into the NinjaTrader platform, you're going to have a bigger universe of extensibility add-ons that you can use, whatever that might be. Again, I say that literally. It's really up to the imagination of people using the platform, what they ultimately end up building. So I just wanted to touch upon that. And then one other area I wanted to talk about, and then we can dive into questions, is the strategy analyzer. And I'm going to bring that up. And actually, before I do that, one thing I didn't show, on the control center, we just moved a couple of things up to the main menu. News, pretty straightforward. Tools, pretty straightforward, I think. Workspaces, pretty straightforward. And connections. Managing connections is slightly different. Again, I mentioned earlier that we tried to normalize how objects and its properties are managed. So when you go and set up your brokerage account or your market data account, you'll just come here and click configure, and you will see all of the available technologies or brokers. And just like an indicator, you just double click on it, it pops down here, shows you your properties, you parameterize it, hit OK, and you're good to go. So I briefly wanted to touch upon that. And so strategy analyzer, for those of you who are doing automated trading and backtesting, just a couple of things to highlight here. first of all, the layout has changed. I don't want to say it's drastically changed, but definitely we have spent time on workflow, and I'm going to show you a few things here. Hold on a sec, let me just close this chart so it's out of my way. Okay, let me just run a back test real quick. So first of all the settings are on the right, and you can pin or unpin it. You can either do a back test and optimization, walk forward optimization. We added a new feature called multi-objective optimization, and simply put, what that allows you to do is select multiple objectives in optimization, and it will run them all. So instead of saying I want to see, what the optimization is on maximum profit, I can now do maximum profit and highest win-loss ratio at the same time, for example. I'm going to just do a back test. I'm going to select, I believe I've got some Microsoft data. 1 minute, and let me just go back to about a year and a half, and I hit run. And it should come back, and just wanted to note on performance, the back test engine has, first of all, been significantly overhauled, both in terms of performance and accuracy. I'll speak to the accuracy in a second. From a performance standpoint, we've seen anywhere from 2 times to 10 times the performance gains in NinjaTrader 8. Again, it really depends on what indicators you're using, and to that fact, we have optimized a lot of the the default indicators within NinjaTrader to be more efficient as well. So overall, you're going to get a much more optimized speed performance with NinjaTrader 8. Again, I just did a quick back test on a year and a half worth of minute data for Microsoft on the sample MA crossover. All of the performance summary here is more or less the same as NinjaTrader 7, although we did add some things I can't remember, as was a long time ago. I think this Ulcer Index is new. You can toggle between different views of the backtest. So if I want to go to analysis view, I click that, and you can see here right now I'm showing cumulative net profit graph, and I've got a number of different graph types I can show, and then I can filter the graph based off of either daily or weekly or different time parameters, whether it's all trades, long trades, short trades. One thing we added is time-based, meaning I want trades to be based off of exit time or entry time pairing, which we didn't have in NinjaTrader 7. If I go to chart, again, same thing as you'd expect. There's your chart with all your trades. Monte Carlo analysis has been moved easier to access. It's right here. You can run a Monte Carlo analysis really quickly. So we feel that the workflow overall is much better. And if I go to settings, when you're doing an optimization, you're going to have a number of settings. You can right-click, I believe it's here. Yeah, it's in the when I do an optimization, and basically I can save as a template the parameters that just show up on the optimizer. With NinjaTrader 7, you couldn't do that. You'd have to literally manually type them all out. So again, we made the workflow better. One of the other new features we've added is this log, and so you can see here. Here's a record of the back test I just did. And what this basically does is every time you run a back test, it's going to create a log of that, and it's going to create a log with all the results, and it's also going to take a snapshot of the code used to generate that back test. I don't want to call this version control because it's not necessarily the intent of it, but if, for example, you're iterating through your logic and you've gone down this path and you've gone 5 iterations of changing your code, running your back test, and suddenly you say, okay, hey, I'm starting to get worse. Every version of that is saved, so you can revert back to that version if you so choose through this log mechanism. You can take some notes, you can pin things on the top. Again, it's more of a workflow feature. With respect to accuracy, what we've added, here you can see, let me just expand this a bit. we've got this section, historical fill processing. And we've got order fill resolution, and I have it set to standard. Okay, this is just going to go bar by bar. So if I'm backtesting, let's say my primary bar is a 5-minute bar. It's just going to backtest each bar, bar by bar. And although we have improved with NinjaTrader 8, what we are doing within each bar is we're swooping through the bar and creating what we call 3 virtual bars. So we take a look to see where the open and closes relative to the high and low and determine the direction the bar was formed, and basically create 3 bars out of that, and then run the order fill resolution, order fill mechanism, pardon me, through those 3 bars for every bar. That's going to be the fastest mode. So that's going to be a little bit different than NinjaTrader 8, and you're going to get more accuracy on your stops and limit orders on that. But what you can also do with NinjaTrader 8 now is if you say, okay, I have 5-minute primary bars in my strategy, but I really want to run order resolution down to, or order fill resolution on high, I can now say, you know, I want to run my orders through minute bars, or even tick by tick if you want. Okay. Now that will give you higher accuracy in terms of results, but the trade-off here is it does come at the expense of performance because there's just more bars to run through, right? So, you know, use it, it's not that I would say use it sparingly, but you can, for example, if you're just starting to kind of shape a strategy and you don't need to get real detailed, you can just go with the high, or not the high, with the standard backtest setting, you know, just to get an overall picture. And when you start getting into the nitty-gritty, you can start diving in and do more of the, you know, if you want to call it intra-bar backtesting or what have you. So, anyways, those are the kind of high-level changes that I wanted to share with you all on Strategy Analyzer, and I'll just open it up to questions now.
Okay. All right, very good. So, guys, the last question was 47 minutes ago. If anybody has a question before that, that was a general question that I skipped over, you can type it again if you haven't already retyped it after 47 minutes ago. Just trying to minimize the number of duplicates. Okay, Eduardo has a question regarding NinjaScript. He says, is there some sort of technical document that explains the complete NT object model for the dome, as well as indicator strategies, etc., so that he can, he says, considering the fact that more functionality is available and with the integration of Visual Studio, it starts to get very complex. Anyway, talk about the documentation. I know you've mentioned this before, but not in this webinar, I don't think.
Okay, good. Yeah, no problem. We definitely have more comprehensive documentation. You know, I'm going to leave the, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So I can only leave it to you guys to determine whether or not you feel the documentation is up to par or not. Simply put, though, a couple of things. We are taking feedback. It's better than we had with NinjaTrader 7, not to say that it's where it needs to be. We'll take feedback, we'll improve it. We are going to add, realistically, you probably won't see it until Q1 of next year, developer.ninjatrader.com. Much like you have developer.google or android.com, you know, very specific developer websites where we're going to provide a lot more resources than we ever have in the past to help people, you know, help developers build things.
Okay, very good. And just going back from one of your prior webinars, I know that you specifically mentioned that more things are going to be supported. So I guess that's coming from that developer section.
Exactly. Well, in our help guide that we'll release, it already goes into all of the expanded support. The developer.ninjatrader.com will be really more focused on additional resources, whether it's videos, articles, sample code, you know what I mean, the interaction with developers above and beyond what we do in our forum. So it's a real community for developers that we hope will foster the development of, you know, a lot more things on our platform.
Okay. Skimming questions for ones that have not already been answered. I'm not sure I understand, so I'll just ask you, Ray. Joe's asking, is there an easy way to place a chart order with one click instead of right-clicking from a pick list?
I see. Yeah, the answer is no. And basically what he means, Mike, and I think I closed my chart. I did. But simply put, you have to right-click to bring up the context menu, and then you've got the pick list of orders that are logical at that price point. Simply put, yeah, there is no like left-click in the chart. There's a lot of, first of all, there's other functionality assigned to that, and there's also, at least from my perspective, just not legal. What am I looking for? I don't want people to accidentally left-click on a chart, unexpectedly place orders.
Yeah. All right.
Now, people can build stuff with NinjaTrader 8, so you might see some other things, but it's likely, I'm uncomfortable with that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, Gonzalo is asking, what version of .NET?
Right now we're on 4.5.
Neil is asking, is there a volume at price drawing tool? I guess he means where you can like highlight a certain number of bars and build a volume profile over them.
No.
Dory is asking, are the drawing objects exposed? I guess she means to Ninja inside of NinjaScript, like to.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand. Satya is asking, under the drop-down instrument list, is it possible to support a custom list?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I just popped up the source code for Andrew's pitchfork. Just since the question was asked, I thought I'd pop it up on the screen.
Okay, so this means that I can change whatever I want to this pitchfork and make it available as a dropdown?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would say it in a different way. I mean, you could edit the system one, but we'll override it on the next install. But you can, create a new
make
one.
Your own.
Just like right-click and save as,
right.
And make a copy. And
right, got it. D is asking, is it possible to use the plus or minus key on the keyboard to expand or shrink a chart?
We definitely have hotkeys assigned to manipulating of charts, and I don't recall what are the default because I don't use keys for that. That being said, I can say as well that we do have a hotkeys window, and there is a chart section, and so here you can see all of the different potential options. And if you don't like what's in there, you can click here to record a hotkey. So you click on that, and then it's waiting for you to press some buttons and record your keys and set it up easier, which actually is easier than NinjaTrader 7 was. So.
Okay, Neil.
But here, sorry, bar width and spacing right there.
Okay. Sorry, we already answered that one. Okay, RT wants to know for sound alerts, do you support anything other than Wave, like maybe MP3, for example?
Oh, I don't know the answer to
that. Jan is asking, is there a way to set a threshold for how many conditions there have to be in order to cause a trigger?
We're talking about alerts.
I think so, yeah.
It's an all or one, meaning, all or any, meaning all of the conditions you create must be true for it to trigger, or any one of the conditions must be true.
Okay.
One of those two options.
Right. Okay, I'm just kind of skipping through because a lot of these have been addressed. Okay, actually, most of these. There's a lot of people asking about multi-threading, so I know you've already covered it. Let's see. I can't remember if you said it in this webinar or not. Each individual chart is its own thread, or how does that work?
It's each. I'll say this. I have 8 cores on my laptop. When NinjaTrader starts, it says, "Oh, here's 8 cores. I'm going to use them." As you open Windows, they're distributed amongst that pool of the pool of UI threads running on each individual core. So I can't give you the exact logic of how that works, but in layman's terms, it could work something like this. If you have 8 cores and you have 8 windows, it might be that there's a window on each core. You know what I mean?
Okay. Just to let everybody know, I'm currently reading questions from 40 minutes ago. John wants to know, whenever you share a chart, what resolution is it?
It's just a bitmap that's created on your PC. So simply put, whatever resolution your monitor is at is it
Whatever
maps
size
no different than
whatever size the chart was, 1-to-1. Okay.
correct.
Mitch wants to know about Market Analyzer. He says, does it have interval linking? For example, it would be helpful to be able to switch intervals based on the symbol I'm selecting in Market Analyzer.
I don't believe it does. I'm just popped open the market analyzer. It does have instrument linking, but no interval linking. And I should bring up, since market analyzer was brought up and I didn't talk about it, performance-wise, the market analyzer is a lot more speedy than, in terms of loading data, than NinjaTrader 7. A and B, with NinjaTrader 7, if you have a lot of indicator columns, if you made any change and hit OK to anything, it would reload all the data for all those columns. And NinjaTrader is much smarter than that. It only reloaded what's necessary, so it's just easier to work with.
Okay. Joe is asking, I think we've answered two of his questions, so Joe, I'm skipping to your third. Can you select which charts show drawing objects like trend lines? So I guess he means like if you have 4 different charts of the same instrument and you draw a trend line on one chart, can you dictate what happens on the other 3 charts?
Yeah, it's, boy, that's a tough one because I can't recall exactly, so I'm trying to scour my brain for the answer. There's some flexibility around the manipulation and the display of objects, and I guess I don't want to say something incorrect because I don't know off the top of my head.
Bob is asking if he has indicators that are active on a chart that he wants to temporarily prevent from showing but not remove. Can he do so?
Yes, thanks for bringing that up. Let me just bring up a chart real quick so I can show. But the answer is yes. We have introduced for all objects on a chart, not just indicators. Yeah, I'll just show you. So if I didn't want to see that, there's a visible property somewhere right there. And so indicators, data series, and drawing objects all have this visible property, so you can toggle them at your leisure.
Okay. Jim is asking, can price scaling be centered on the vertical scale while also having the ability to specify the space above and below price?
I guess first of all, the answer, and I can't remember, oh yeah, right here. So we have the new option called center price on scale, which is what you're looking for. In terms of the margin, top and bottom, that would be handled, I believe, let me take a look. Yeah, here. This is the panel properties, margin lower and margin upper. And you can set that as a % or based off of price. So it's a combination of 2 things to get what you're after.
Okay. Vlad is asking a slightly different follow-up. I'll modify his question slightly. He says, can he chart synthetic products like a 10-year spread? But let me also ask it a different way. What if I wanted to create a completely synthetic product, of my own? We'll call it product Mike, and it's a mixture of 6 different things. Can I do that?
No, not with NinjaTrader 8. We've had the request for that over the years, but it just hasn't been, compared to other things, strong enough. It's still on our list, but the simple answer is you cannot create, my instrument and add 20 instruments into a bucket and,
right.
and create it synthetic.
Right. At least not real time. You could always do it from a historical import if you created it outside of Ninja.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So, Ray, I don't know how you're doing on time. I will need to go in about 20 minutes.
I'm good for 20 minutes.
Okay. RT says, or is asking, can you have text that says, or text that stays with a given bar and stays at the top, bottom, or middle of the screen? I guess he's saying like make a note on a bar and have it follow the bar.
I mean, NinjaTrader 7 does that, so I'm not sure I'm going to probably understand the question. I mean, it's no different than a draw object that it's got a coordinates, right? And it stays with the
Right.
coordinates unless you move it. So unless
Okay.
I'm probably misunderstanding the question.
Well, so am I guess. Evander is asking, can you show the risk reward tool?
Sure. Uh, Simply click risk reward. I can't remember exactly what my settings are, but it's, you know, uh, that was my entry, and then this is where my stop is, and this would be the, you know, the target. So, and then there's some settings you set for risk reward. I haven't played with this tool myself, so I don't know exactly how it works, but I guess that's me showing it to you.
Thomas is asking, is there an AB equals CD drawing tool?
No.
Victor says, can we? Oh, okay. Let's say he has a particular chart, and let me expand his question to say an indicator. Can he like copy Control C and then go to a different chart and paste it?
Yes. I guess there's a couple of things. I guess let me do this. New chart. I'm just going to pull up to the same chart because I believe I've got the data. So you can do stuff like this. And I can't remember exactly all the details, but if I have, for example, this indicator, I can drag it and I can drop it in here, and it makes a copy, as you can see. And there's some rules. I just remember going through the specification process on this. And you can drag and drop objects between windows, but it's depending on what they are, the behavior might be different. And I just can't remember all the minutiae of that. But as you can see here, I just showed you a copy function, just a drag and drop. And you could have done a control copy, control V as well.
Nice.
But I guess the drag and drop is probably easier.
Okay. Glenn is asking, I guess the question basically boils down to, what does it take to make NinjaTrader 7 indicators compatible with NinjaTrader 8? There's a large user base that has customized indicators for NinjaTrader 7.
Yeah, good question, and glad that was asked. For whatever reason, escaped me. I guess the first thing I need to state is that NinjaTrader 7 indicators are not compatible with NinjaTrader 8, which simply means that they need to go through a conversion process. If they're standard indicators that are in the realm of what we call supported NinjaScript, for the most part, it's a, I'll use the word simple conversion. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. And if you follow along our support form, you'll find that the developers that have been in the beta definitely will attest that, yeah, okay, it's not an issue. For those people who have went outside NinjaScript, like they're doing custom rendering, custom plotting, that's completely different, and that's going to definitely require a lot more effort. Two different technologies. In NinjaTrader 7, we use WinForms. With NinjaTrader 8, we use DirectX wrapped in a WPF form for the charts. Again, apples to oranges. And the feedback we've gotten so far is, oh man, I was kind of scared of all the stuff that I have to do, but now that doesn't matter to me anymore because it's amazing all the stuff that I now can do. So I guess the point there is the pros far outweigh the cons.
Sure.
I
understand.
And I should add as well, I know Mike spoke with Brad about conversion.
Yeah.
We're going to be converting as many indicators as we can that's been submitted to our forum. And stuff. So we'll try to do as much as we can.
Yeah, I was going to say just a small plug for BMT. I just looked. There's a thread that I started on November 2009 for people to ask for. People that aren't programmers, they have an idea, so they submit it to the thread, and then someone else that is a programmer creates their idea, turns it into an indicator. So since November 2009. There are over 12,000 posts and about 6,000 indicators. So I created a very similar thread that's specifically for people that have an NinjaTrader 7 indicator and they want it converted to NinjaTrader 8. So you can find that on BMT. All right, next question. Alexi wants to know if you can show time and sales.
Sure. Real simple. There's definitely a few enhancements we've made to time and sales. That's what it looks like. Market's moving slow right now. Let me even see if I can get something quicker. Yeah, probably not going to get a lot of ticks coming through right now. Short of it is, that's what it looks like. You can not manipulate, but personalize it how you see fit. One thing I can't show you because I need more ticks. Maybe I can. Yeah, you're going to get a scroll bar to go back in time if you want to see historical ticks. We didn't do that with NinjaTrader 7, so that's what's new with NinjaTrader 8 time sales.
Vadim wants to know about the process of importing tick data. So
okay.
Maybe you can show like the dialog box.
Certainly, just go Tools, Import, Historical Data. Very similar to NinjaTrader 7. Just simply, import here, pick kind of your format, and that's it. So you press the import button.
Okay. So everybody's on the same page. I'm answering questions from, I have to do the math, about 35 minutes ago. Vadim has a question. In NinjaTrader 7, indicator values look different on tick charts sometimes after he restarts NT. So I'm not sure what he's describing. I think my layman explanation would be that depending on your historical look back, it changes, right? How a bar is formed. It may be different if you load data from a different time of day because bar number 1 is different than it was when you started Ninja the first time.
Yeah, there's a number of variables, and for a quick explanation can get a little complex, but I can tell you with NinjaTrader 8, you should see that happen less frequently to the point of probably not at all. Again, trying to distill this down to a layman's explanation. For the most part, most feed providers, there's no such thing as a sequential tick ID. And so as we get the data, when you merge real-time and historical data, you need to, let's just say, kind of merge them together. And the logic for doing that, there's always a possibility that you're going to miss, or pardon me, not miss a tick, but you could have more ticks than you should have because you've got a bunch of ticks with the same timestamp, and either you don't know if they're duplicates or not. There's just no way to know. So there's always that possibility, but we've made some logic changes in NinjaTrader 8 to minimize that.
Okay. D is asking, can you share charts to multiple email addresses at one time?
I believe so. I haven't used the email share service, but I believe it pops up and you can put in as many email addresses, just much like Microsoft Outlook.
Henry wants to know if you can export data like from an indicator on a chart and export that to Excel, I guess like via CSV or maybe some kind of real-time.
Yeah, good question. The answer is not out of the box, but you could do that with a custom indicator if you wanted to, but we don't provide that out of the box.
Yeah, there's one of those on BMT for Ninja 7, so I imagine it'll be updated to Ninja 8. Alexander is asking, he says on Ninja 7, he's using 5 different time frames and it takes a long time to populate the chart. Will it be any faster with Ninja 8?
Yeah, I guess simple answer is yes. I can't give you exact performance details. It really depends who the source you're getting it from, what those 5 series might be. But we have, let's say, improved, we call it bar pooling, just kind of how bars are managed in memory and disk and cache and stuff like that. So it ultimately is faster.
Plus the new improvements to the multi-threading, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. Richard is asking, is NinjaTrader 8 64-bit only?
No, it's just like NinjaTrader 7, 32 and 64-bit. What has changed, though, is there is no brokerage or market data adapter or provider that cannot be used in a 64-bit environment. There's some limitations with 32-bit only for NinjaTrader 7. Our recommendation would be if you have 64-bit OS, or you get one that more memory, the better.
Sure. Joe's asking for market replay. Can you set the replay time per bar instead of the actual time of the bar? For example, he wants to be able to test a reaction time to a trade setup, but the new range of the bar has to be completed within 10-second intervals.
Ooh, that's a hard one for me to fully comprehend.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say I didn't talk about market replay, and let me just highlight a few changes there. One, we've renamed it and called it playback instead of market replay. The reason for that change is with playback, you can now replay two different formats of data. You can replay our historical market replay data that we provide and you can record. Or you can use historical data from your market data provider, historical minibars, for example, or pardon me, historical tick data, pardon me. So you can have now two different data sources. Another thing, this is a little technical, but NinjaTrader 7, we stored level 1 and level 2 data in separate files. And in some cases, we might lose the sequence if there's two ticks at the same timestamp, for example. Where with NinjaTrader 8, everything's recorded in a single file, so we don't lose a sequence here or there. And you can also play back at maximum speed. So with NinjaTrader 7, there was some, let's say, replay, 5 times, 10 times. I can't remember what the maximum speed. With NinjaTrader 8, it will go as fast as your computer will let you. When you do that, though, your cores will be pegged at 100%, just as an FYI.
Jan is asking, is it possible in charts to have one bar go from one color to another? I think the question is like a gradient instead of like a red or green. Can it be some sort of a gradient from top to bottom on the bar?
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so my answer is yes, but not out of the box.
Right, NinjaScript.
Yeah, it's WP has a concept of brushes, and a brush can be a gradient, whether it's a vertical gradient, radial gradient, and there's a lot of wacky stuff you can do. And so like I said, you can't do it out of the box, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that people are going to do over time, and you'll be able to do stuff like that.
Jim says NinjaTrader 7 has a SQL database. What does NinjaTrader 8 use?
Same thing.
Okay. PW says in Ninja 7, daily bars were not always accurately represented. Instead, he had to use 1440 minute bars. Does this change with Ninja 8?
Yes, and let me clarify what he likely means. With NinjaTrader 8, if you are connecting to CQG or Continuum or Rhythmic and using historical data provided by NinjaTrader, okay, the daily bars for futures contracts, the close of the daily bar was the last tick that we received within the session. With Ninja, and that necessarily wasn't always the true close based off of the settlement price that might come hours later, right? So with NinjaTrader 8, we've updated how we close off a daily bar. So the close will start off as the last tick, but as soon as we receive from our data provider the settlement price, we will update the daily bar to reflect the settlement price. So that's one change. The other change too is with NinjaTrader 8, our futures daily bars are based off of the RTH session. With NinjaTrader, or that's NinjaTrader 7, I'm sorry. NinjaTrader 8, it will be based off of the ETH, so the overnight session. So two changes there.
Okay. Dory is asking, is there a way to determine what template you have applied to a chart? Like the name or something, maybe somewhere.
The only thing you have access to is a property that's set in the data series, which by default would say use instrument. So I guess the answer is no. Again, although
you can do it with NinjaScript. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can pull it out and pop up an indicator, and that's very easy.
Yeah, in Ninja 7, there's an indicator I made many years ago, just called like label or chart label. If you save that as part of your template, then there you go. Jonathan is asking, when a workspace I'm having trouble understanding. When we use a workspace to load and enable strategies on startup, he wants to ensure the strategies are enabled as soon as NT8 is turned on. So I guess he's asking, is
Yeah, I know
okay,
exactly. I don't recall if we made any change there. However, the reason why we don't do that, again, it comes down to my personal feelings about making sure that we don't get people into trouble. Just like that, when I said I don't want people accidentally clicking on a chart and orders place, I didn't want people starting up NinjaTrader that suddenly a strategy runs and a bunch of orders shoot out. And it's like I didn't want that to happen. And that's kind of the philosophy from a design perspective why it is the way it is in NinjaTrader 7. I don't know if we made any changes there with NinjaTrader 8 because that work was done a few years ago, and I just don't recall that far back.
okay.
But if it's in line with my general, philosophy, we likely didn't make any changes.
Mark is asking, he says NinjaTrader 8 uses SharpDX as a C-sharp wrapper for drawing objects. Is there another C-sharp wrapper for older WinForm controls like buttons and drop-downs and so forth that could be used in WPF?
No.
Neil is asking, and the time and sales window, is it possible to copy or like paste the content? I guess maybe he wants to export the content.
I don't think so. Let me check. Obviously, print. Yeah, I don't think so. Apart from sharing images, I think you're basically wanting to export the actual data to like a CSV file, for example. The only way you would do that really is the opposite, not opposite, but going into the historical data manager and exporting data here. So that's the only way to get data out of the system.
Right.
So the answer is no.
That guy, literally his nickname, wants to know about data feed integration. Is there a way to push data from another source into Ninja? I guess maybe he's saying not an actual data feed, not kinetic, but maybe some synthetic data feed of some sort.
We have I guess two parts to that question. We don't open up the ability to write brokerage and/or market data interfaces to market data providers. That's our we control that obviously. But we do have a method, and this also is true for NinjaTrader 7. We use this for connecting to TradeStation. There's a strategy we built that you can put on a TradeStation chart, and it pumps data, level 1 data over to NinjaTrader, and there's an interface for that. So I guess the answer is that still is there with NinjaTrader 8, but it's definitely not a full data feed.
Okay. Mitch is asking if you can do a demonstration real quick of the multi-objective walk-forward optimization.
Oh, I think I can. We got, I don't know, you said you got 20 minutes, which is literally right there.
Yeah, right? I can go like another 5, but then I actually really have to leave my house, so.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Oh, there, I almost killed NinjaTrader. So, yeah, so basically, multi-objective, there we go. I'm going to try to make this fast so I don't go through a ton of data. So let me I'm just going to whip in a few parameters here, so hopefully it will optimize quickly. And here you go. So you can see optimize on. And you can then select what you want. So I've got max net profit, profit factor, minimum drawdown. So I've got 3. I guess they look like default to me. And let me see. Let me just go back on standard, and let me hit run. And again, I didn't do it on a lot of data, but here you can see, and you get a different type of a graph option here. We also have some 3D graphing, eye candy stuff built in here. I'm not going to show that right now, but I personally have not used the multi-objective in any elaborate way, so I don't fully. I didn't specify in the product management part of the application, but here you go. So I guess and you can start graphing things differently is showing in this kind of graph here the results that you get.
Okay.
So hopefully that was kind of quick.
Okay. I skimmed. There's like another 40 or 50 questions, but I skimmed. There's two that stand out, and then we'll have to wrap it up.
Okay.
Can NinjaTrader 8 be installed side by side with NinjaTrader 7?
Yes, absolutely. But let me clarify that. You can run them side by side, but if you're trying to connect into, for example, your same brokerage account, the brokerage technology might have limitations where you can only have a single connection. So meaning if you connect with one and then you connect the other, you might boot yourself out of the other one.
Okay. When will NinjaTrader 8 be publicly available for a beta?
Back to the question, it's really a question of quality, not time. We're going to open it up here in the next week to our next wave, which includes about 150 people, primarily partners. As you imagine, we want to make sure they have time to get their stuff understood, how they got to convert it. Assuming we get a lot of the showstopper type stuff out of the way, I guess I'd just say sooner than later. But it's a quality issue, not a time issue for me.
Okay. So I know there's a lot of people that did not get their questions answered, and I apologize. Normally I can go as long as anyone's willing to talk, but today's an exception. My bad. My apologies. So Ray, what's the best way for everybody that did not get their question answered to have a shot at getting it answered?
Go to our support forum, NinjaTrader 8 section, and then under there's a general discussion. Fire away. Obviously, you have to be a member of our support forum, and just know that our policy for responses there, it could be a couple of days. And the reason only for that is because it's not priority. Supporting actual trading clients is the priority. So I hope you guys understand that.
Okay, thank you very much, Ray, and I'd like to say just congratulations to you and your team on all the work that you've put into NinjaTrader 8. I know that everyone is going to thoroughly enjoy it, and I can only imagine what people will create. I mean, you've seen, obviously better than anybody, what people did with Ninja 7. So, yeah, sky's the limit with Ninja 8. It'll be interesting to see what people come up with.
Welcome, and thanks for hosting it, Mike, and thanks for everybody for participating and giving me the opportunity to show and talk about NinjaTrader 8.
All right.
Take care,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Bye.